All right. So, even rambling on about the Packers, my really good friend and great colleague as well, who definitely rambles and talks a lot about Boston everything. And he's been very excited about how the Bruins have been playing. And he always loves to express his thoughts to me. So, joining me live here on the show via the Global Satellite Network presented by StreamYard, my good friend Bobby Montagna of BeanTown Breakdown. All right, let's start with the Patriots. So, all right, the last couple of weeks, Mac Jones has been getting vocal, and he's been pissed on the sidelines. I don't blame him because, first of all, Josh McDaniels takes the job with the Raiders, and Mac Jones is coming off of a Pro Bowl year. And by the time he leaves, everything's different. You got Matt Patricia calling offensive play calls as a defensive coordinator. And then I don't know really what to make of Joe Judge, to be honest. But this just seems like this is just a complete mess. But yet, they are in the playoff mix between the Jets and the Chargers. Like this, I don't know what to think of it. The last few seasons with Bill Belichick has just been nothing but oddities. But yet they still try to find a way. So what have you seen in the last few weeks watching Mac Jones express his thoughts and really just kind of being vocal on the sidelines? You've talked about this a lot. If you didn't, like you said it before, if you don't see changes within the offseason, this may be calling for some type of major change. Am I right?
Okay, first question. How Boston do you want this? Do I have to lock my inner Bostonian in his cage in the back of my mind? Or like just like where are we going with the show?
Oh man, you always take it to a higher level. Anytime that when Boston kicks in, man.
Right,
I mean, I love the authenticity. I really do.
So let's do this, right? The one thing that we've noticed around here is that what do good owners do in organizations? Mm-hmm. They sit back, monitor the money, sign the checks, leave the football stuff to the football people.
Yep.
Bob Kraft has been more vocal about making the playoffs and certain standards that he wants to be met. Mm-hmm. When have we ever? You don't ever see Kraft getting vocal or putting himself or making himself known and out there to get noted. Like I personally think he wants to win a playoff game. They want to win they don't only want to get to the playoffs, but they want to win one. And he's been setting this up to where I think he's inadvertently putting a little pressure on Bill by making it known that he wants to win a playoff game. Yeah. And it's he's done it now for 2 seasons. He said something in the beginning of this year before kind of like the season got going that there's an expectation there that he expects to win a playoff game this year. Yeah. Like expects it. That is the expectation. They, that like this is where this team should be in year 2 with Mac Jones. And does it look like that right now? Not really. Like it's a lot of his. I'm very critical of this organization, but that doesn't mean I'm not. I'm critical because I can see the potential, and it's not being lived up to. Like. I hate a couple of the decisions that this organization has made. But do I understand why? There was really no other direction for them to go in, right? Mm-hmm. Josh McDaniels, we know this. It's been said over and over and over again. Runs one of the most complex offenses in the NFL. It's a lot of pre-snap read, pre-snap diagnosis. You need to be able to do that. And you need to be able to do it well. And the only 3 people that have been able to run that offense, because that wasn't, people don't know this, but that wasn't Josh McDaniels' offense. He learned that from Charlie Weiss. Charlie Weiss taught Josh McDaniels that offense. It was Charlie Weiss's offense. So the only 3 people in the last 22 seasons that have been able to run that offense successfully are Tom Brady, Josh McDaniels, and Charlie Weiss.
Mm-hmm.
So Josh leaves, which I don't blame him. It was his last opportunity as head coaching job. He left. He took the opportunity, took the money, and left. I don't blame him at all. Anybody who's in, like, it's a business, the NFL is a business at heart. So he takes the money and leaves. They have to switch their entire offensive philosophy because nobody can run it. Nobody can run that offense the way it's sat with Josh. Nobody could do it. So they have to. The head scratcher to me is there wasn't a lot of effort to kind of go and push for a real offensive coordinator. He kind of said Matt Patricia was available, and he, in my eyes, he said, well, he's run defense for 20 years. So that knowledge of how to run things could possibly transfer over. I think that's what was the thinking. You've been a coach for 20 years, so you might be able to transfer it over. And no, it failed miserably. It fell flat on its face. You see the outbursts. It's and not only that, right? They're not like it's a local broadcast game. The outbursts have come in nationally, like, for the whole country to see. Mac Jones is screaming at him from the field, at the field, from like, dude, get me the play. Like, I think they got 3 delay of games that last game because the plays weren't coming in time. And that's that at an NFL level, that's inexcusable. You got to get your guy on the field, the plays, so he can execute them, right?
Yeah, and it comes by quick. Like, you have to make quick decisions. I mean, that's what's so important about the quarterback position. You have to be able to get those play calls quick. And if you're not doing that, that hurts a lot of the momentum.
Yeah. So not only that, right? So he's going into this season with a guy who's already questioning his ability to do the job in Matt Patricia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mac's confidence is not going into the season. I don't think it was very high because there was rumors going around and there was things going around during the preseason where Mac was kind of banging heads with Patricia on what are we doing? Like, why are we running this? Why are we running it this way? What do we do? Like, the kid was too football smart to, like, it's like, I get it in a way. Like, he's football smart enough to the point where he didn't like it. Like, he didn't like the playbook being dumbed down, and he didn't like being put in a little, inside of a box. He didn't like that, and but here's what my gripe with the kid this year. I went back because I have way too much freaking time on my hands. And I looked at his time in the pocket. How much time did he actually have in the pocket? And I went back for 5 games, and he's got between 2.3 and just under 2.5 seconds. And the league average is right around 2.5 seconds. So he's getting near the league average in time in the pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
My gripe isn't when the line collapses and he gets smoked from behind. I think the confidence has slowly, just game by game, gone down with him because he doesn't trust Matt Patricia. So if you're a quarterback in your second year, you're still a young quarterback, and you don't trust your offensive coordinator or your quarterback's coach, that's going to drop your confidence level,
Mm-hmm.
And then every game the kid gets smoked. He gets killed out there. He's taken a lot of big hits this year from behind, and so the confidence level is just slowly going down game by game. And then you add in like the fact that he's the trust levels just isn't there. It's not there on the coach level. It's not there on the player level. So the kid's got no confidence out there at all. And he's just he's banging heads with the offense. It's not a good situation all the way around. My gripe with him is there's plays there to be made. He is missing wide open receiver. I can't tell you how many times he's forced a ball to a guy in double coverage, and there's been a man wide open. Like Hunter Henry has been wide open in the seam 8 to 12 times this year, and he's just ignored him. When there's plays to be made, I get you, kid. You have a terrible offensive line. Your tackles are awful. The two Patriot tackles are terrible. The kid gets crushed. He gets absolutely killed in the pocket, and he's got no confidence in the offensive line. Receivers aren't catching footballs that should be, that are catchable balls. But when the plays are there to be made, there's no excuse for you. You have to make the read. You have to make the right read, make the play, deliver an accurate football. That's where I don't like. Where I draw the line with him. I'm on your side, kid. You're not in a good position at all. You're not in a good position to succeed. Bill did not put you in a good position to succeed this year. But at the same time, you're making bad reads on the field. You're making bad reads, and you're not seeing wide open receivers. You have got to, as an NFL quarterback, you got to tune all that noise out. And when there's a play there to be made, you got to make it. And if it's not, you're not, then that's on you. That's not Matt Patricia. That's not Joe Judge. That's not the offensive line. That's him.
Right.
That's where it is. That's where it sits.
No, yeah, I completely agree. And the fact of the matter is because I do think Mac Jones is a good kid. I do think that he has the brain capacity and the smarts where, he's seeing the playing field, and I know he could definitely make the plays. I think that like certain limited quarterbacks, because I think that's where we kind of do draw the line with Mac Jones. He's a good quarterback, but he's got limitations, like you mentioned, about open reads. I mean, here's the thing. Even though you are in a bowl of chaos, look at the quarterbacks that are making plays off script. Justin Herbert, he was down both his star receivers. So he had to deal with his third stringer, his fifth stringer's out for a torn ACL. You got to bring up somebody from the practice squad, and you've got DeAndre Carter, a kick returner, as your wide receiver. So you have to play off script in some place. And because even though and I've spoke about it too, Joe Lombardi, completely dink and dunk. I've seen it against the Dolphins. I've seen it against the Niners. It drives Chargers fans nuts. But
what can Justin Herbert do? Push the ball down the field really well.
Oh yeah, he's making off-scripted throws, and I know that because when you saw this against the Dolphins, when they ran that trick play with the two running backs, and he was a wide receiver on the right side, that is the most clever play I have ever seen out of Joe Lombardi in years.
Yeah,
and I was and then you see Justin Herbert run the football. And he gets a first down. And the second he makes that first down signal, I saw the same attitude and I saw the same game flow like I did in that Rose Bowl against Wisconsin.
Yeah, when he was playing back in college.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and he had to improvise. So when your coaching staff is not on the same page and level, there are times where the quarterback, that's where the entirety of the offense looks to you as the game controller. You're the one that's got to be poised in the pocket. You're the one that sees a lot of these receivers, even the tight ends and the running backs, and you got to be able to improvise even when chaos is falling apart. And that's where I think with Mac Jones, I do think he's a good kid, but like some of these quarterbacks, they cannot handle the chaos. I watched Tua get smacked around by the Niners and the Chargers, and he was under so much duress, and everybody's like, oh, Tua's better than Herbert. Well, he was under so much duress, and he couldn't do nothing against pressure. And that's where I'm like, pressure's in your face, he can't produce. Mac Jones, terrible offensive line, pressure's in his face, and the worst thing you could possibly do, even taking it out on your coaches, even though it did not set you up for success, but you still got to be able to improvise because it's not just doing it for the coaches. It is doing it for the sake of your playmakers because you got to be able to make plays. So, yeah, I agree. That's one of those things that, I know with the Patriots, it was going to be so odd.
That's my only gripe with the kid, though, is that
–
because here's the thing, right? Patriot fans as much as I can't stand my own fan base, 50% of them, right? I am at their throat. Like seriously, like but I don't really blame because half of them are young.
But let me make a note.
The younger half of this Patriot fan base,
yep,
22, 23 years old and under, they don't know what, dude. I went through the Grogan years.
Yep.
Doug Flutie. You know what I mean? Like I went
Drew
through
Bledsoe.
But Bledsoe and the tuna kind of changed it. But I went through the Flutie years, the Grogan year. Like they don't because they don't understand how it was like this franchise wasn't this successful. No. My father was going to games with his dad when they didn't have a stadium, dude.
Yeah.
When the Patriots didn't have a stadium to play in. They were playing in Fenway. They were playing at Harvard. They were playing at Brown University. They were so bad that they couldn't get a stadium built for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, but that's a whole nother, we could get it. But that's my biggest gripe with Mac is that we get you, kid. The Patriot fan base can see that this is a hot mess in the offensive play calling position. It's a hot mess. Joe Judge is a special teams guy trying to coach quarterbacks, and Matt Patricia is a 20-year defensive coach trying to run an offense. Like, we know as a fan base, it's not going to be pretty, but you're not helping yourself any at all.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right.
You're not helping and the him screaming at Patricia, him screaming at Patricia's one. Like, I get the frustration, kid. We all do. We get it. But you gotta curtail that. Like, don't you know what I mean? You gotta
be willing to shut off all the noise.
The Patriot fan base wouldn't be so toxic towards him if he stuff that, swept that under the rug. Just do what, if you were making plays on the field that were if you were making plays and just doing everything you could to make this work, it would be it would be a more united front, positive for him. But I think it's just, a lot of this fan base you just can't, as much as you want to scream at your offensive and defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
It does more harm on your look than good,
Oh, it does. Oh yeah. And honestly, I think I found the perfect Christmas gift for Mac Jones. It's just getting in these noise canceling headphones. That's probably what you need, because at that point, when you're in the zone and you're wired and you got all the noise blocked off, you're your mindset and you're wired and you're completely focused. And that's where I think Mac Jones really just needs it the most. But I do want to shift to this. So the Patriots are playing the Raiders this week, and they're facing off against Josh McDaniels on the road in Las Vegas. This is going to be quite the interesting matchup because, of course, too, the Raiders are playing they're playing on a mindset of, do we see Derek Carr in the silver and black next year? Like, they're playing for jobs. And as much as New England is almost in a similar boat, but yet they already know what has happened with this franchise and with this team and this roster already. I think this will be an interesting game. So kind of when you did the previews and all the rest of it, how do you really see the table set against the Raiders on the road this week?
So this is a really interesting. It's teacher versus student. You know what I mean? Yep. And let's not forget, Josh beat Bill in Denver.
Yep. Yes,
he beat him in Denver. People forget about that. He already got him once. But this is huge. This is a big game. I'm going to say this right now, Jake. The loser of this game is not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Whoever loses this game is not going to make the playoffs. The Patriots, in order to make the playoffs, have got to win the rest of these games. They have got to win out.
They've got to win out. Man, the weeks too, because you got Cincinnati, you got Miami, and you got Buffalo in the end of the season.
But that's what I mean. We have got to win The rest of so the Buffalo one's interesting because
Yeah.
I think we are going to win that game simply because Buffalo is not going to play a soul in that game. That game is meaningless to them. They will, in my opinion, if Sean McDermott was a smart coach, he wouldn't care about that game. Go ahead, Josh. We're going to take you. We're going to take nobody in the starting
sit your guys out, rest them up. Yeah.
Nobody in the starting offense or defense in that Buffalo game should play that game. No one.
Yeah.
No one.
Oh yeah.
Because they have already have everything locked up, and we should win that. I am predicting us to win that game simply because Buffalo, if they're smart, wouldn't play a soul in that game.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
So back to this one, right? Josh has beaten Bill before.
Mm-hmm.
He's got him once in Denver. So it's not the fact of, can Josh beat Bill? He already beat him once, so he can do it. Mm-hmm. My thing is Josh tends to he kind of has that mentality where he wants to be the smartest guy in the room and try and outsmart Bill, and could go away from a game plan that is working against the Pats to quote unquote say that he outsmarted Bill, because he's done it before. Patriot fans have had a huge gripe with him over the years that he'll for some unknown reason steer away from something that works. Mm-hmm. to be like, I want to be the smartest guy in the room and I'm going to do. No, dude, sometimes simple is best. Just stick with what works. If you're running the ball and you're getting 4.5 yards a carry with Josh Jacobs, mm-hmm. I would run the ball 70 times a game. I would run it every play if I was getting 4.5, 5 yards a carry on Josh if Josh is smart and he figures out something that's working and he sees it working and the Pats can't stop it, just stick with it and you'll win the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's, but, I could totally see him just being like, well, I want to be the smartest guy in the room and do something stupid. And then Carr ends up throwing 2 picks and we score 10 points off turnovers. Like that's, it's this game is going to go. Me personally, I think the Raiders and Pats are going to stick right with each other in the first half. And I think here's a hot take for you. The Pats are going to score 14 to 20 unanswered points in the second half and beat this team. That is where it's going to get opened up. I think the Patriots and the Raiders are going to be close in the first half. I'm thinking 3 to 7 points between the two. And I think the Patriots are going to score between 14 and 20 unanswered in the second half. And that's
I'll tell you what though, because I mean that point it's 1 point. It's a 1 point favorite. And now I took the Raiders of it because of the fact of I like the 1 point, because I agree. I think it's going to be a close game all the way around. Mm-hmm. Like my prediction was I thought it was going to be like 24-23. Like that, you're going to get some offenses. I think in some parts, I mean, New England's got a really good defense. They've always had the defensive identity down. But part of that is going to be, how does that offense really shake things up? And that's where I think that 1 point, I'll take it. I think that's just as close as you could possibly get it. And it's just depending on what is the game plan that Josh McDaniels really has against Bill Belichek. That I think is going to be the biggest question we'll all see today.
Yeah. So here's, if I was the Raiders, this is how I would play it, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Defensively and offensively. So defensively first, mm-hmm. I would put Max Crosby on a wide stance. Like I would mm-hmm. line him up outside of the tackle and just have him crash, have him crash. Because the offensive tackles, the starters, which are Isaiah Wynn and Trent Brown, which they're questionable to play at best. So if you're starting like Yandy Kajutse or I forget who the other one is, it's off my head for a second, but like you're telling me those guys are going to have to match up one-on-one with Crosby on a wide technique? No way, dude. Yeah. No way. Crosby's going to have at least 2 sacks on Mac Jones this game, and he's going to make his life miserable. I guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
He is.
Oh, yeah.
So I would line him up wide on either side and just let him have at it. And I would also blitz the crap out of the offensive line. I would blitz every 2 or 3 plays. I would absolutely just hammer down on them because
Mhm.
that's been the weakness of the team. So I would exploit the offensive line in every way I could if I was playing them on D. I would
Oh,
make that
sure.
offensive line's life miserable.
Mhm.
And Mac has proven that he reading a D, reading the blitz sometimes is a hit or miss. And you figure if he misses a read once and you get him to throw a duck or something, like let's say you hit him and he throws a duck, a wounded duck in the air,
Yeah.
you have your chance. That's how I would play it on D is like that. And on the offense, I would the middle of the field, the linebackers have been the weak point of this defense for 2 seasons now. I would attack the seam routes with Darren Waller being back. I would absolutely use him I would throw the ball to Darren Waller 10 to 12 times this game.
Oh yeah.
And
No,
I would use the crossing routes and drag routes in that 7 to 12 to 15 yard range. And I would just eat in the middle of the field on offense. I would use that. I would go from hash to hash. You know what I mean? And
oh yeah. I agree.
Keep it inside the hashes because the middle of the field for them has been a massive letdown. The only linebacker who can actually cover is Josh Uche, and they need him on a pass rush because the pass rush has struggled. So it's like, what you pick your poison. Do you rush Uche because nobody can get to the quarterback outside of, on the defensive line, or do you keep them back? Like that's exactly how I would attack this team because those are the 2 biggest weaknesses, like 2 of the glaring weaknesses on the team: the offensive line and the middle of the field for 2 seasons now. Bill has tried McMillan and Uche and Bent. Like a lot of these linebackers are developing very slow, and that's the week that all season this year and last year, the middle of the field has absolutely. Look at the teams that have beat them; they've crushed them in the middle of the field, from hash to hash.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and yeah, it those are one of those things that I'm like, because New England's always had the identity with their defenses. Like it doesn't even matter who they have set up a defense. They're gonna give it to you 110%. Like they always had that identity. But no, I completely agree with you. Ultimately, it's playing those smart plays, and it's at the same time making them productive enough to where if New England can control this game enough, and they're playing against Devontae Adams, they're playing against, and Hunter Renfro's back. So there's that optimism that the Patriots, they really have to be shut down. They have to be shut down at all costs. And at the same time, they can't afford to make mistakes offensively. They have to be able to be on the same pages. Mac Jones has to make the throws. He's got to find the open looks, and he's got to be able to, at the very least, move that ball downfield, even if it's just getting 21st downs, even if it's just getting that much up onto it, because you can't do this, these checkoffs each time. Like you got to be able to march the ball downfield. So I do want to. Yeah, so I do want to shift to the Boston Celtics. So, what a year right now! What a start to the year. So, Ime Udoka, he's out as head coach, and a lot of people, we all felt what media was speaking about Udoka. I felt the same way. I was like, why would you let down your team like this? And the fact that you made it to the finals last year against a tough Golden State Warriors team, which I'll be honest, if Robert Williams did not go down the way he did, and I don't think Golden State would have ever had a chance to drive to the bucket. But looking at this year, Udoka's out, they bring in a new head coach, and it's like their identity is strong. Like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown still are the same, and Marcus Smart, very good defensively, and he's a really good, reliable asset as well, especially when you need a stop, you need a bucket in the paint in the perimeter. And my only thing is hoping that Robert Williams' health, he's 110% healthy, because I know he could get you stops. I know he could get you rebounds. So what has this team looked like now, since after all of what the offseason antics has been, and what this season looked like? It looks like they're playing a lot of heart this year. Like that's just what it's looked like to me.
So here, all right. Let's get into this. All right. I'm not sold on Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Has he shown improvements? Yeah. But he folded like that was a big game against the Warriors. Let's they needed to get up and they needed to play in that and what did he do? He fell flat on his face again, you know?
Yep.
The kid is never here's my gripe with him.
Mm-hmm.
The individual accolades mean more to him than the team winning.
Yeah.
And he might say, oh, he says all the right stuff. But in reality, listen, bud, actions are louder than words. You can say all the crap you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could see right through, that. Like, he cares more about an individual accolade, like an MVP or like the individual. He cares more about the individual accolades than the team winning a championship. The MVP means more to him than the team winning right now.
Yeah.
It does. And that's a problem with me. That's a problem. Like, here's a hot take for you. I would trade Jason Tatum before I would trade Jaylen Brown.
Oh, 100%.
I would trade because Tatum to me is still mentally soft. Jaylen Brown has mental resolve, and mental toughness. Tatum is kind of a whiny baby.
I mean, I would do that before I even consider trading Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, to be honest.
But this is what I'm talking. Like, and here's the thing: if you want to play in Boston, it's logo above all, dude. Like, you got to be. If you're not a team player, you ain't gonna survive in this market.
Yeah, it's the name on the front more than it is of the name on the back. Yeah.
No, I'm serious. And the fan base is smart enough to listen. They love Tatum. And he's a hell of a player. He is a hell of a talent. But until you get your diva attitude under control, and realize that you have
and he's even admitted to himself he's not
a lot of the stuff I think is fake it till you make it with him.
And
you're saying all the right stuff. You are Tatum. Yeah, you're saying all the right stuff to the media.
Yeah.
But when you need your actions to match what you're say, be like, I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on Tatum until he proves you want to be considered the greats. Tatum, you want to be Paul Pierce level loved in this city. Then when the lights and the pressure get cranked up, you can't fall on your face like you did in the finals, bud. You can't do that.
Yeah,
that was he fell on his face, flat on his face. In the national TV, that was a terrible finals for him. And until he comes back and scores 30 points a game, in the final, until he has that signature performance, I'm gonna believe that, judging from the history, he's gonna collapse. He showed it again. That was a massive game against Golden State, and he the first half for him was awful.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Until you show up when the lights are bright, you're not that, you know what I mean? You're not going to, this town isn't going to give you, that level of Paul Pierce level respect. You're never going to get that until you prove that you can do it.
I totally agree. I mean, the Celtics, I love their identity as far as they're tough defensively. They are the kind that when they go on a run, they don't take their foot off the gas at all. They find the opportunities, they find the open spots, even if it's on the wing or it's right on the perimeter. They will find every and all opportunities to score and keep the leads on their side. And it was like I said, I mean, even when he even admitted, he's not a leader. He's not somebody that you're going to put all of the expectations and all the rest of it on his shoulders, because he's going to fall flat. He's going to be somebody that is just going to be falling flat on his face. And that's where I think for Celtics fans, they know it and they see it. And that's why I'm I would very much trade him away before I even consider trading Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, because I don't want to take my defense away from that.
But this is what I'm talking about. If I get it. He puts butts in seats.
Yep.
He does. But at the same time, it's kid, if you're going to be the leader of this team, then you need to be the leader of this team. And it's like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like whenever the team in moments that are big and really matter, they've leaned on him. They tried to lean on him in the finals and he collapsed. So it's like, well, that's just my, like,
that's like saying you're relying on Russell Westbrook to be that guy that's going to seriously do it, and then he shrinks.
So that's my concern with him. I have always believed that Jaylen Brown has had better mental resolve than Tatum.
Yeah.
Like, Jaylen Brown showed up and showed out the whole finals.
Yeah.
You know, 110% every game. Like, that's, and I think Tatum is a little bit of a diva, and I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I agree. Well, just a couple of minutes before we wrap up. So let's talk real quick, because I honestly, you know how I feel about, with hockey with the Bruins and, of course, with the Vegas Golden Knights. I do have that as my prediction. But I do want to talk about the Red Sox. So interesting stuff.
You're going to lose in 6.
Hey,
so get ready to
I'm counting it in 7.
Get ready to be disappointed again.
I'm going to count it in 7, bud. We're both probably going to be drinking all those tall cans and probably drink up one of those giant mugs.
No, but in all, real quick on hockey though, the Golden Knights and the Bruins are the 2 best teams in the league.
Oh, they are.
Followed by the Avalanche.
Yeah. Oh God, the Avalanche are falling apart.
Real quick though, right? Like, the Bruins beat the Avalanche twice, but look at the condition the team was in when we beat them twice.
Yeah,
the first 2 lines were injured.
Yeah, they're falling apart.
To me, that's not a real measuring stick. Let's see what happens when Colorado's first 2 lines are fully healthy and out there. That's not going to be a 6-1, 4-1 game. No, there's no freaking way. That's going to be a 1-0, a 2-1. You know what I mean? Those are overtime or shootout games with the Avalanche at full health.
And I've always said this. I said March and April are completely different hockey times than you are of November and December. Like they are completely different. But no, I agree. And I love how, and it's crazy because they let go of Bruce Cassidy and he goes to Vegas, and Vegas has a completely strong identity. Like,
but here's the thing.
Like
Vegas needed Cassidy, because you know what Cassidy does that the Bruins didn't like here? He puts your ass to the fire if you don't perform, and he don't care. Yeah. He'll call your name out in the media, be like, "Yeah, he played." He will put your ass to the fire, and the Knights needed that. They needed a guy who's good. Oh
yeah, and this is a good learning lesson for the young kids.
Yeah,
the youngsters are also producing. I mean, good God, I honestly love the personality that Paul Cotter always puts out on the ice. Like he's somebody that I'm like, okay, this kid's got an interesting personality, but he also does he does acclimate to what the team's identity is. That's what I'm like. This is a bright future.
Cassidy will push those guys, which is that's what you guys were missing last year. Yeah. They needed that little extra kick in the ass to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what Cassidy does. Why do you think the Bruins, Cassidy will poke and prod you as a player, but it will make you better. It'll aggravate the hell out of you, but it'll make you better.
I mean, think about it. I mean, I watched it all last season, and
right now Vegas is playing way above. Like
look at the production of Jonathan Marchessault.
You know what I mean? He's been Marchessault is, but see, like Marchessault has always been that guy where if you push and you have to be kind of relentless, pushing and poking and prodding him, because he'll take a game. You know what I mean? Cassidy constantly needling him, telling him you need to be at 100% every game.
Yeah.
Look at his play this year, dude. Marchessault's playing ridiculous this year.
Yeah, and you got to think he's turned into, because I thought the last 2 seasons, I was like, oh God, is he going to turn into a liability on this line?
I know.
Like, and then he's actually utilizing what he had in the last 2 seasons in the wrong side, and Bruce Cassidy's turned that around to where he's actually using this on the right side of the ice, where he's not showing himself as a liability. He's showing himself I will play tough. I will play 110%, but I will not cost it for my team.
And you know what's benefiting you guys too? You know what's benefiting the Knights in that trade too? Because both teams, like Montgomery's helping the Bruins, but you guys are benefiting because Cassidy's not afraid to switch the lines up.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't afraid to do it in Boston either. If you're not performing and there's something not going right there, how many times has he in the preseason with preseason hockey with Vegas, Cassidy was all over the place with his lines.
Oh God,
right?
I was like,
he was all over the place. But guess what? He figured out who works where pretty good.
Oh yeah, and good God, I even said it during the offseason. I'm like, why didn't they get rid of Max Pacioretty faster? I mean, I even said it. I'm like, he has a production level, and if you get production, like, and you get trade capital from that, you'll get draft picks, you'll get some players, you'll get some type of incentive for that. But you gotta trade it when he is like in the prime. And if he's not, and he's getting the injuries, then you're just kind of settling for whatever you get. And then I just was like, I hated the fact that they had to get rid of Dylan Coghlan. I thought the kid had a sniper shot on him. That's why I'm like, Carolina's got a really good young kid that they're going to build, and he's just going to be sniper shots anytime. Like I never understood that trade. But in the end, Logan Thompson's playing great. I knew that the second I seen him in minor leagues, that he was going to be something special. It was not going to be about Robin Leonard. I think Vegas literally wrote him off the train the second he came here. And then now Logan Thompson's playing great. And then they're all like, what are we going to do now about Leonard?
You guys needed a coach like Cassidy to push that team because let's be honest, the talent's been there for a while, Jake.
Oh, it has.
The Vegas has always, I've never doubted the talent on that team. Mm-hmm. It's been the ability to motivate that team to stay up. You know, you can't. Like we're on like a 3-game win streak. Oh, let's take our foot off the gas, and then you lose 2 in a row. You know,
right? Yeah, that's where you said that push and shove. That was exactly what they needed. And you got to think they've been to the Western Conference Finals twice, and they both lost. And then they missed the playoffs the next year. Oh God,
you're gonna lose again.
Oh God. But
if it does, that's my prediction. I think the Bruins and Knights are going to end. Because I do think this year with Cassidy as the coach, you guys are going to get past teams like the Avalanche. You know, like you're going to get past teams on the Avs level.
I'm going to tell you right now,
because the coaching alone is going to push you guys past that.
Well, there's some teams that are unraveling right now. Like I mean, the Avalanche are dealing with injury problems.
But see, they're going to get healthy. The Avalanche will be back to the level they were playing at. They're just the injury, like it's nothing. Like none of those injuries to those guys are season ending. It's just when they do get back, like the Avs are a force, dude. They're a force. They're a good team. They just unfortunately got a lot of guys that have little bumps and bruises and are banged up right now.
Yeah, and here's a team I will not continuously question. But even though that I'm seeing that they're kind of playing like, you know, like they're literally playing middle of the pack. The Calgary Flames, they are playing middle of the pack, and I like Daryl Sutter. I think he was a great addition to that coaching staff because he's got a personality. He knows what the objective is. And Calgary, they got some scary players: Blake Coleman, Jonathan Huberdeau, and you know that they can make those strides, but it doesn't look like that right now. But I'm like, watch January and February; those are completely different months.
Didn't they come storming back in the late season last year too?
They did, yeah. And that's why I'm like, Daryl Sutter knows exactly what to do with it. Yeah, and that's why I'm like too. Like Edmonton, it's hard for me to really get on board with the fact that they can be that tough team, because it's like at some point the inconsistency blanket just comes out. It's like you could just see it from a mile away. And I mean, but I will say the team that did make some strides, the Kings and the Kraken. Those are two teams that literally
the Kraken had a good offseason. They did. They did a good offseason.
And I've said it to people before. There is no team that is going to repeat what the Golden Knights did in the very first year. There was not going to be anybody. But, okay, you drop 1 year, you're officially in the league. But if you are making Ron Francis is making great moves, and I knew it. I was like, the identity was
right. They made it to the Stanley Cup final their first year.
Yeah.
They had an off year last year.
Yeah.
And what the front office do? They said, all right, we're not going to repeat this crap. This is not going to happen. What do we got to do to get better? And what they do, they went out, they got Bruce Cassidy. That's what
they
good
unloaded on unwanted players. They unloaded Max Pacioretty. They unloaded, a bunch of guys, which I was like, I wish we would have done this sooner. Because
that's what good front offices do. They reassess after every season and they say, all right, how do we fix this? And they, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the night I've always said that. What have I always told you about the Knights front office? They're good. They're good.
Now, and again, I've had my eye when it came to Kelly McCrimmon, because sometimes I'm like, if you just keep the consistency of what this team's identity is about, they can be a dangerous team. But the second you kind of foil up a lot of it, like you mix this all up, like they're not going to be playing well. And I think this was perfect for what they needed to do. But it's, as I've said, because I can't even begin to tell you how many conversations I had about the Max Pacioretty thing, because they're like, well, he is productive. But I said, yeah, but he shrinks in the playoffs. Do you really want a guy that's going to shrink in the playoffs in the most important time of the season? Like, I'd rather not. And Mark Stone had to take that accountability when they lost to Montreal and they lost to Dallas. Like,
and
give me a break.
Honest, those two losses should have never happened.
No. And even the Montreal one. Oh, God, no.
The Montreal one was even worse because it was literally you guys just fell.
They were outskating them, and Montreal was slow.
Yeah.
Like, it made no sense. And, but at least from this year, that's why I'm like, if they keep their foot on the gas and they keep the consistency, and I'm curious to see what the trade deadline may look like. Now, I don't know if they may make too many moves because of just, the cap situation, but what they can do as far as finagling a few pieces, that could be something interesting. So I'm like, trade deadline, moving it all the way until we're right at the Stanley Cup playoffs, could be something interesting. But yeah, so I do want to talk about the Red Sox, because here's the thing.
Oh, screw John Henry.
Oh, man, I knew you were going to have that reaction. But this is so it's, as I said before.
He needs to sell the team, though. Like, he is out of touch and just lost. Like, it's just not there anymore, dude. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. And the worst part is, too, you bring back Alex Cora hoping that you're going to get that offensive juice back. Well, this is not 2018 anymore.
No.
And it's not, and you don't, and all those players, like, because Benintendi's on the White Sox now.
Yep.
And you trade Mookie Betts to the Dodgers, and they extend him for 13 years. And now JD Martinez has joined the Dodgers. And then Xander Boegarts, I will be honest, and we said this before, I said Boegarts is going to be gone, because by the time he's searching for his money and San Diego pays him, I never understood why San Diego. And then you move Tatis out to left field. And so now you spent nearly over $1 billion on an entire infield. You've paid that much, and you're still paying Eric Hosmer of his money. And that's where the Red Sox, and I heard it too, they designated him for assignment. And so somebody's going to pick up that first baseman, because, again, I love his production level. I do like his defensive glove. I do think he'll work in if he's in the right organization, he'll work. He will work somewhere. But I don't think San Diego was the right spot. I do think they kind of treated this whole thing really different, and it was very odd, because with the Jake Cronenworth, Luke Voigt thing, it was weird. But now the Red Sox, they're moving Trevor Story to short. They'll move him back over to short. They'll move him in his natural position. And
let's be honest, Jake, right? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
When they signed Trevor Story, the writing was on the wall that
Boegarts
you don't sign a shortstop when you already have a 2-time Gold Glove and a Silver Slugger.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
It's not something that you would honestly do in a front office. Yeah.
As soon as they signed Trevor Story, I kind of looked at it and I was like, huh. It's kind of like that meme that's like things that make you go, huh. Yeah. Like, Why would you sign a shortstop if you already have one? Unless, like, I knew the writing was on the wall. The writing was on the wall that they that he was leaving. The writing was on the wall that they were not gonna sign Bogey. And the worst part was having to go through that year knowing that he's not coming back.
Yeah.
Because look at all the accolades that he, like, dude, the guy won a Silver Slugger this year, another Gold Glove. Like he's an incredible talent.
Without a doubt. And he's really
one
good
of the best
offensively.
shortstops in the game, right?
Yep.
So that was disappointing, having to go through the year knowing that he wasn't coming back. You know?
Yeah. No, and he's a really good offensive talent.
So here's a little nugget for you, Jake. Devers is like Rafi Devers and Bogey were very close. Like they're very, very, very good friends. His contract's up the end of this season.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's on record, him and his representatives are on record saying twice to the Boston media and to upper management, it was leaked to somebody let it get out. Someone let it get out, right? Devers told upper management that if Bogey walks, he's done too. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So do you think for 1 second if this team does like they did last year and wins 84 wins 84 games, 85 games, you think Devers is going to come back to that? No way.
No.
Oh, dude, he'd be stupid not to test free agency. The guy's hit 35 home runs like how many times now? Like he's one of the best hitters in the game, right? And his play at third base has gotten progressively better every year.
Oh, so yeah, he's locked down on the corner.
The guy's going to get paid as a two-way guy. And do you really, if you're him, if the Sox win 85 games this year, are you coming back to that?
Oh, no. If I'm not making a postseason spot, I'm not coming back to that.
No way, dude. There's no way. So they're going to lose him. Now, take Devers off this team. Where are they going to be at now? Where would they be at without him? Dude, they're a 75 to 78 win team every year.
Yeah. This is almost like a Bobby Valentine ran team. Like,
and then on top of that, right? Like the team's just struggling, dude. They're struggling in every aspect, like in every aspect of the game. It's not good, man. They are not in a good spot right now.
Yeah, no, and I can see it from a mile away. Like, just this was not going to be good. And the fact too that Chris Sale has been multiple injuries, and the pitching staff now, like Nathan Eovaldi, he's probably going to end up being out. But there's so many changes, and I don't think like I just kind of felt like right after all of that, the Red Sox were just going to be done. They're going to be in full rebuild mode. I think if you're the Red Sox, don't torture this team as much as at all. Like just be in full rebuild mode. If that's the case, get your draft picks. You probably have to sacrifice at least a few seasons up on it. But if you could get the talents up, because now that just means like your young talents are Alex Verdugo and Bobby Dahlbeck. And that's really all you got to settle with. So I agree. I just think that as crazy of a history that the Red Sox has had, I've not seen it this bad.
Let's no, it hasn't been this tough in a while. Let's be honest though, right? When they hired Chaim Bloom, I said this when they first hired him. Henry hired him to do two things: save money and restock the farm system. Because Dombrowski, that's what he does, dude. He's got a reputation. He's got a reputation for doing that. He will sell off your farm system to win a World Series now.
I mean, look at the Phillies.
Very close with the Sox twice, you know?
Look at the Phillies.
But you know what I mean?
They're paying all the money. They're paying Trey Turner like $300 million.
But you know what I'm talking about? That's what he does, though. He'll sell off the farm system to win you a World Series. That's his kind of MO.
Yeah.
But he's gotten pretty good at it. You know, he got the Sox there a bunch of times, you know, twice. He got the Phillies there this year. Like, the guy's not a bad GM. It's just his thinking is not long term.
Yeah, he's not doing.
It's what can I do for this team right now?
Yeah,
you know?
And he's not thinking like what the Dodgers would do, what the Astros would do.
Look at the talent Bloom put in the farm system, though, for us. Marcelo Mayer, all these kids that are down in the single A and double A. The only downfall to that is there's a lot of young talent coming through the Red Sox farm system. But you and I both know, Jake, it takes a while to go through that system. You know?
Yeah, like 2-3 years.
3 to 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So think about this. The Sox could win 70, 75, 78 to 85, 88 games for 3 to 5 seasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before you start seeing that talent finally, because you can't just jump from single A to the bigs. Like,
oh no.
That's not that is a rest, because you're talking a guy who all right, so 90, 92, you know, single A ball, you know, fastball, right? Cutter, it's up to 97, 98, 99, 100. That's a huge jump. Like that 7-8 mile an hour jump on that fastball, dude. You're talking, that's it.
Yep.
A tenth of a second to make a decision whether or not that's a cutter or a two-seat. You know what I mean? Like, it's a insane jump. Like, and I've been around baseball for a while. You've played. It's that jump is massive.
Oh, it is. And you have to adapt to it as quick as possible. It's not that easy either. Like, that is something that the A's would do because of the fact of just their farm system itself. Like, that's something that they would honestly invest in. Like,
But in John Henry's eyes, though, Chaim Bloom did exactly what he wanted him to. He saved money because so let's be honest, right? They signed Trevor Story for $120 million. What did Xander get? 280.
Yeah.
He saved him $120 million, $130 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and he restocked he put talent back in the farm system, which is, in my eyes, that's what Henry brought Bloom on to do. Rebuild the farm system and save him money.
And you could get guys on short-term contracts.
My gripe is, what the hell is the point in saving money if you're not, like, that money that they save should go back into Raffy Devers and be like, Raff, here's 200 mil for, you know, here's 200 mil for 5 years. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
If that money that he saved doesn't go back into Devers and doesn't go back into the talent in the team now, then what the hell was it for? You get what I mean? Like, this is the frustration. The biggest frustration that Red Sox fans have with Bloom is that this isn't the Tampa Bay Rays, asshole. This is the Boston. The Red Sox net worth is 5 times. You know what I mean? Like, spend like it's the Red Sox, not it's like not like it's, you know what I mean? That's the biggest gripe, is that you basically have an unlimited check with the Red Sox.
Oh,
you know? So spend like it.
And no salary cap.
But, you know, look at what the Yankees did. The Yankees are loading up. They're tired of not making the World Series. They're tired of it. They got Rendon. You know what I mean? Like, they're load. The Yankees are pissed about not getting to where they need to be, and it's showing. Hal Steinbrenner finally grew himself a set and is like, all right, I'm gonna put my foot down. Enough's enough. Let's get back to where we should be. You know, like, and it's high time that Henry did. When was the last time he acted like that, dude? 2018 when they won. You know what I mean? Like, Henry put his foot down and was like, enough. We're going to win a World Series this year. And look at, he went out and got JD. He went out and got the guy, you know what I mean? He went out and got guys that are going to fit the team, and they won a World Series because of it.
And it paid off.
Like, that's the gripe right now, is that this is turning into, Jake, the mid-90s Red Sox. You know, that 78 to 83, 84, 85 win team every year. They're that middling team that can't make the jump.
Oh, yeah. No, it's absolutely true. Oh man, but we had a lot of really good stuff though here today, man. It was absolutely jam packed. But I appreciate you coming on, Bobby. Always great sharing your thoughts with Boston everything, man, and bringing in the Boston vibe. For all my viewers and listeners, where can they find you of everything Boston?
It's BeanTown Breakdown on YouTube, and I'm staying toxic on Twitter at the same name per usual. Poking and prodding my own fan base and laughing at the Jets, Dolphins, and Bills.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I haven't seen you raise hell in like one of the spaces. People really do get sensitive about that
Oh, I
stuff.
stay.
I hear it all the time.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing. I stay toxic on Twitter. I'm sorry. I stay toxic. Toxic mode engaged 24/7. I've been at some Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins fans' throats for like a week now. They hate me. They hate me. I've been banned. I've been blocked by like 4. Oh yeah. I have like I'm gonna start like a banned and blocked like trophy room and just yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I stay toxic on Twitter, bro.
Oh my god.
But I'm always down to me, dude. I'm always like here's like the reason why I don't like half the fan base is that I don't like homers.
You know
what I mean? Like Homer
like, hecklers. Yeah.
You have to be realistic.
If you have to be authentic.
Yeah, like it's like I'm realistic. Am I harsh on Mac Jones? Absolutely. Right? I am a harsh critic of his, but the kid's still my quarterback, and I still believe that he can be salvaged. Like the talent and the wherewithal and the NFL smarts are there. I'm a harsh critic because I can see the potential that's there. And if it ever gets reached, the Pats are going to be a problem. That's why and that's why I'm harsh on the Red Sox too, because the talent, and the same on all 4 of them. The Red Sox, the Bruins, the Celtics, and the Patriots. The bar, Jake, is this. The bar in this market is set incredibly high.
Yeah.
It's set incredibly high. And that's only because the coaching and the atmosphere here is it's a winning atmosphere. And when they don't live up to that, like let's be honest, this is a down year for the Patriots. And they're 100%. They're hovering. A down year for the Pats is hovering around 500. Dude, the Browns fans would kill for that. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the reality of that's how high the bar is set here.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's why I'm like, yeah,
but I'm also realistic, dude. On your teams. Yeah. I'm also realistic. This is a lot of these teams for the Red Sox and the Patriots, this is probably how it's going to have to look for a couple of seasons until they look like 20 years of glory just doesn't get rebuilt in 3 years.
Jeez, they need to go to more Bruins and Celtics games at this point.
But you get what I'm saying. That's the thing. And I try to keep it as authentic and realistic on a level as I can.
Yeah. No, and I totally agree with you up on that. I would be the same exact way. I mean, hell, that's why this show is so great. Because it's authentic and balanced opinions.
Mitch, when you lose in the NFC title game, I'm going to laugh.
All right, Bobby, such a pleasure talking with you, man. Have a good one. Good luck against the Raiders, and we will definitely talk with you soon, my man.
We'll handle business for you against the Raiders. Charger fans will be happy at the end of this game.
Oh, promise. Man, I can't even wait for that. All righty, man. Take care of yourself.
Tag, buddy. Take it easy. Thanks a lot. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Yeah, he loves bringing Boston to everything. That's why I could go I could go on and on with him for like a long period of time. But I know, time management, all the rest of it, you got to be the best about it. And sometimes it's tough, it's challenging. But no, he's absolutely right about that. I do think Mac Jones and I do think the Patriots, they have to come to some type of level playing field because we know the coaching staff on this is not working. The coaching staff is just absolutely atrocious. It's horrifying. But sometimes you got to be able to think off script. You have to be in a quarterback position where that is the expectation. That is exactly what they need you to do. That's the biggest issue. And I think, and I do think Mac Jones is a good kid. But I do think that there are times you just got to be able to really just think above the curve. You really, really, really do. All right. So here for the last 5 minutes here, we're definitely going to do potential coaching hires. I do think this year there are several coaches, and it happens every year. We get 6, if not 7, different coaching hires all the way around, because this season, who knows? But we'll see exactly with what we're going to end up getting from here. So without that, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these teams. And we're going to be looking at a lot of just these different teams from here. So, all right. So let's take